Has anyone ever told you you should do something you didn't want to do? Hi, my name is Christina, and this is Everyday Galilee. Ever since I was a freshman in college, I've been very wary about the word should. When I was a freshman, I started taking Italian courses right away. I love Italian, I am Italian and have always been proud of that, and I think the language is beautiful. But a couple weeks into the semester, after starting my Italian courses, I was struggling with a paper in a different course. And so I met with the professor, and while I was meeting with him, he asked, "What's your major?" So I told him, philosophy and theology, and he said, "That has a language requirement. What are you taking?" So when I said Italian, his face changed and he looked at me like I was crazy, and he said, "Oh, really? That's kind of a stick in the mud decision, isn't it?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" I was pretty taken aback, and he said, "Well, if you're studying philosophy and theology, you should take Latin. Italian is not going to help you read any of those great works." So I felt pretty weighted down, and I talked to my friends about it, and I said, "Well, this professor really thinks I need to quit Italian, and he says it's the best thing for me. Maybe I should." And they said, "Why don't you go talk to a philosophy or theology professor?" So I met with a theology professor, and he said, "Actually, I think you should do what you're passionate about. If you want to study Latin later so that you can read original works, there's time for that. But you want to do Italian, so do that right now." So I took both of these pieces of advice to prayer, and I asked God, "What do you want me to do?" And the peace and joy ultimately rested with keeping Italian. So I studied it all 4 years of college. I studied abroad in Italy, lived with an Italian family, took theology courses in Italian, and on my honeymoon, I was able to speak to Pope Francis in Italian. I even sometimes speak to my son just in sort of silly ways to Italian now, and it still brings me joy. He's the only one I can really speak to. And so it's fun for me to know Italian, and I use it all the time. I eventually did need to take Latin, but I use my Italian way more. And so I tell you this story today because ever since then, I've asked myself when someone says to me, "You should do this or that thing," like, really, do I need to do that? Is your should a valid should? There's a lot of different lenses people view the world with, and now that I'm a mom, I'm hearing all these other shoulds as well about what I should or shouldn't do for my family, for my husband, with work, with my faith. And I have to ask myself, okay, thanks for the advice, but God, what do you want me to do? Because often when I try to cram in too many shoulds into my life, I don't enjoy life. There's a lot of good in the world, but I can't do it all. And one of my sisters likes to say, "Why do what is simply good when you can do what is necessary?" I also work for the church, and so people are giving me good ideas all the time, and I have to take those ideas, thanking people for them, and ask, "God, what do you see as necessary for our church?" Discernment is not so much about choosing between a good and a bad, but choosing between two goods. And so that's what this video is about today. Is there a time that someone has asked you should do something that you didn't want to do but felt like they were correct in advising you? And where did that lead you? Sometimes the shoulds people tell us we should do are good, and sometimes they're worthwhile and they bring us to great joy, and other times they don't. So let me know in the comment, do you have a should story? Let's talk, let's journey together. And if you liked this video, please hit like below as well as subscribe and share with your friends. God bless.